What's up, YouTube? I'm going to tell you right now, if you were here for something quick and easy, click off. If you are serious about actually wanting to become successful, stay on this video, and I will teach you how to get there as quick and painless as possible. All right, with that out of the way, let's jump right into it. So, there's a few things to this equation. The roadmap, that is fat. That is very large. Okay. The roadmap and your vision. When you have these two things, getting to success becomes very, very easy, okay? Because your mind functions best off of clarity, and it functions best when humans are really good at doing what they need to do when we know exactly what we're doing. So the roadmap is basically kind of the trick. If you can make a roadmap for something complex and complicated and long, then and put it somewhere where your brain's going to constantly, you're going to be reminded of it, then the chances of you being successful go like through the roof. Like, that's huge. So let me dive in. In order to reach your goal, and we'll put a little flag here as your goal, you can't just, okay, so in order to reach your goal, first you need clarity on what your goal actually is. So previously we just called this vision. So you need to make sure that you actually know what your vision for success is. If you don't know what your vision for success is, then you can't actually become successful because, one, when you get there, you won't even know it. And two, you won't know which direction to walk in. And a lot of people who are listening to this have probably, I know I was like this, I had this kind of general idea of success in my head, and I would go towards that. I would try and chase success. Just any new thing that seemed like it might have a chance of making me money, or any new thing that might have a chance of improving my situation, you know, I'd look into it, I'd dabble in it, and then nothing would happen, essentially. And if this is how you feel, if this is where your life has been, this is the video for you. We're going to teach you how to overcome this. I overcame it, and now it's your turn. So, how are you going to get clarity on your vision? So the thing is, like, when I did this, I have a goal of moving to Japan, okay? And I have a goal of making a stable source of income while I'm at Japan, and preferably having exited my business. So I'm no longer the main person working in my business. It's mostly I'm running the whole show, and everybody else is doing a lot of the work. And I'm more like a director and overseer and like kind of deciding where we're going to take things. That's my goal. So I knew that was my goal, but I didn't actually take the time to sit down and think, okay, well, what does that look like? I didn't have a mental visual image of what that was yet. So I realized that, and I sat down and I took some time to actually think, okay, well, what does my goal look like? Like, what does that actually look like? So I visualized myself living in Japan, like what I wanted my house to look like, what I want my apartment to look like. I envisioned myself what I wanted to do for work, what I actually wanted to do, and like my daily activities and what I wanted to spend time on. And I made sure that this vision was compatible with my future, because this is actually one of my, it's a shorter term plan. I have longer term plans than this. So I had to make sure that it was compatible with my future and that it was actually leading to my end goal of the future. And I had to make sure that I could afford it. I needed to make sure, I needed to know how much money this would actually cost, and roughly how much time it would take. Or I at least needed to have benchmarks where it's like goals that I could hit, where I knew that I was getting closer. And see, most people don't have this. Most people do not have these benchmarks, and they have no idea how long it's going to take. They have no idea how long it's going to afford. Their future is up in the air. They just kind of have this general like, oh, I want to be wealthy. I want to be wealthy. It's like that doesn't help you. And like most people don't know what they want to do, and also don't know where they want to be. So, how do you get clarity on this? You have to sit down. You have to ask yourself these questions. Okay, how much time is it going to take? What amount of money are you looking for? Is this, how far away is this plan? Right? And I recommend making a small plan first. I recommend making a version of success that is like the most, like, this is like acceptable to you, where it's like, if you reach this, you'll be fulfilled. You know, not necessarily super wealthy, not necessarily super rich, not necessarily smashing all of your goals. It's just that you're going to reach the point where you're no longer in survival mode and you're just happy and you're just kind of enjoying life, because it's going to get way easier from there. You'll go to the moon from there. So just getting to that spot first, that should be your goal. All right. Actually, I can zoom in over here. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Now go ahead and write those things down. Okay? Like, pause this video. Go and take time to envision and visualize what you actually want your minimum viable success life to look like, okay? Like, what is the bare minimum that you can settle for and feel successful? And some of you, you're going to hit that and you're going to be done, and that's fine. And other of you are, if you're watching this, you're probably the second one, where it's like you're the type of person who just wants to improve continually, forever. And that's cool. You know, both of these are perfectly fine. Now, the first part, to you actually, so now that you have this goal crafted, you know, if you've written it down, hopefully, how you actually reach there, I'm gonna show you something. Most people want things, okay? So, in order to get things, they do something. And this will influence their belief systems, how this is going. So if somebody wants more money, they will do more work, right? But the problem is, most people run into this error of they want nicer things, so they do more work for those things, you know, and this applies to monetary things, applies to personal things, applies to philosophical things, you know, this can apply to anything. So they try to do more work to get the thing, but people don't realize a lot of time that, well, what will happen is they'll get the expected outcome of this action, right? And 9 times out of 10, this is not actually what they want. And because it took all of this work to get there. So the outcome is you might get what you want, but you're also going to be burnt out. You're going to be sad. And you're probably going to run into failure a couple times. And eventually what's going to happen is you're going to give up. Because your brain knows your track record. Your brain doesn't trust you. Your brain doesn't have confidence because you lie to your brain often. And it's not going to believe you when you say, I'm going to reach this goal. It's like, no, you're not going to do that. I know your track record. If you wanted to reach that goal, you could have already done it. And the reason you didn't is because you're not capable. So that's what your brain is thinking when you tell it, I'm going to reach this goal. Is like, you already tried this, it didn't work, you're not doing it. And so it's not going to help you, right? Like, your subconscious mind it's not going to help you. Your heart is not in it fully. So, how do we fix this? Well, and what I was trying to get to here, I'm sorry, I have ADHD, I'm a little scatterbrained. So, this will wind up creating a negative belief. This will create a negative belief about yourself where you just kind of see yourself as a failure. And you just kind of feel like you have to do more all the time. Like, no matter what you do, it's never enough. And you don't actually get what you want. So you're just left with nothing, pretty much, except a bunch of wasted time and probably money and you know, some negative emotions that you don't want to feel. Now, those negative emotions are there for a reason. That's your brain telling you this isn't working, this isn't what I want. So how do you actually fix this? The way you fix this, most people want things, so they do something, and then this creates how their belief systems. So and your belief systems change who you are. So this creates them, basically. This creates you. So, but the thing is, if you actually want things, you first have to become the person who does the things, and then as you do those things, you'll get what you want. Oh, I had these arrows all messed up, but you get the point. So, most people start out with trying to go after the thing. You can't do that. First, you have to become the person who can get the thing, and then you don't have to go after the thing will come to you. That's how this works. So instead of you chasing after, let's say money, just be the person who attracts money like a magnet. And I'm going to tell you how to do that in just a second, but like that way you don't have to chase money. It's the money's coming to you. Just be the person who people want to give money. See what I'm saying? You have to have this framework, and you have to, so now that you know that this, you have to become very clear on who you need to become to reach your vision. Okay? And what this looks like is telling yourself all of the habits that you need. Like, what does this person do every single day? And what has this person cut out of their life to get where they are? So if let's imagine you. Let's say, I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you want to be a millionaire. Okay? Well, in order to become a millionaire, you have to act like a millionaire. And then if you act like a millionaire for long enough, you will make $1 million. Okay? And obviously you can't just act like a millionaire out of the box, but you have to have some level of faith that you can become that person through a process, which is how everything is done in life. There's already a process for making $1 million, so you can just look for it and copy it. One of the processes, or put your own spin on it, or because there's a process for figuring out how to make $1 million, even if you're not copying somebody else's direct process, right? So you can do this. What you're trying to do is probably something that's already been done. And if it hasn't been done, you also still know the process. And the process is use your head, use your noggin, go full Super Saiyan, like 99% brain power. Not really. Just a little bit, actually. Well, it doesn't take, it's not very hard. And just think of the solution that you want to what, so you can get what you want, and then just think of the next solution, and then just think of the next solution, and then just think of the next solution to the next problem. And just keep doing this. If you do this for long enough, if you build this habit of just identifying the problem, and then figuring out the best way to solve that problem, and then doing it, guess what happens? This is what productivity looks like. And productivity leads you to your goals. Ideally. There is such a thing as wasted productivity. But you're not going to do that anymore because you have a clear... Oh dear. What is it doing? Because you have a clear vision. Wow. Incredible. Okay. So now you're kind of seeing, okay, here's how I can reach my goals. All I have to do is understand who I need to be, and then you have to understand the problems that are in the way, and then all you have to do is solve the problem using your noggin. It's not that hard. You don't have to be smart. You do not have to be intelligent. Okay, I'm telling you, it's really, really easy. You can actually use ChatGPT. Straight up, just use ChatGPT if you don't know what you're doing. Okay, I'm gonna go on a tangent here and give you a little bit of an example. So, I'm not a coder. I know a little bit of Python, but not a lot. Okay? Not a lot at all. I'm not a coder. And I went ahead and tried to make a spreadsheet that basically had this whole system that I had designed to gamify my life, and I wanted everything to be automatic because writing things down manually was too much work, and doing all the math every single night for earning all my XP and stuff, it was annoying and obnoxious, and I didn't like it. So I wanted a system where I could come to my computer, it'd be quick and easy, put in the stuff, just check boxes like, did I do this thing? Yes. Did I do this thing? Yes. Did I do this thing? No. And then it would run through the math and output exactly what I wanted and tell me what my level was, tell me what my XP was, all of that good stuff, and tell me when the next reward was and things like that. So I wanted to make it easy. So what I did is I made this spreadsheet, and this spreadsheet required me to learn JavaScript. Okay? Now, I'm going to keep going. I didn't actually learn JavaScript. I basically just brute forced my way through YouTube tutorials, and I also used a lot of ChatGPT. And I'm telling you guys, ChatGPT literally made like probably 80% of my script. He got a lot of things wrong that I had to fix myself, but he probably made like 80% of my script. He was troubleshooting with me the whole time. When I didn't understand something, I would ask him, what does this mean? How do I actually use this? Like, why does this have to be the way it is? When he'd give me an answer, and I'm like, what am I looking at? I don't know how to code. But just through understanding that if I sat through enough of these, what is going on, what am I doing, and then basically thought of the correct question to ask ChatGPT, and just keep doing that, and then implementing whatever he told me to do, now I'm left with the sheet that actually works, and I have a finished product. It's a minimum viable product, but it works. And that's all there is to it. Like, I'm not a coder. I did not have... And logic is the thing I'm worst at, okay? I'm horrible with logic. I don't know why. My brain just goes out the window, okay? All of that is to say, you don't have to be intelligent. You don't really even have to know what you're doing. All you have to do is know how to ask questions and know how to wonder, know how to identify, okay, what's the next obstacle in my path? Sometimes it's knowledge. It's typically not knowledge, because 9 times out of 10 you know exactly what you have to do. And it's typically not... I'm going to tell you what, 9 times out of 10 it's just you. It's just something about you has to change. Whether that be you are consuming a bunch of bad content, and the content is not helping you, it's just wasting your time, it's making you into a more like shallow and I'd say uneducated person, and it's like just shortening your attention span, you know, YouTube shorts, TikTok, things like this. It's just not actually helping you. It's not serving you. It's basically turning you into the person that is the exact opposite of the person you need to be to become, to actually reach your goals, right? So that's typically what's happening a lot of times. And this can also be people. This can be people in your life who talk to you, right? So if you have friends who basically don't want you to be successful, and they keep talking you out of success, and they're always like, hey man, play video games with us, hey man, let's go party tonight, hey man, you know, and they just keep like people can put you on a downward trend. Okay, this can also be your parents, this can be people you love, and sometimes they don't know any better. They have false belief systems as well, and they also don't know what you want, which some of you may have realized that you don't even know what you want, right? When you're watching this video. So you can't really blame them for not knowing what you want when you don't even know what you want. So, and that's okay. You can still love people like this. There's nothing stopping you from loving people like this. So be kind. Love everybody. Now, so this is really the only skill you need, is the ability to identify the next problem and solve it. Now, that being said, it gets a little bit more complicated than that, because if you just solving the next problem, solving the next problem, solving the next problem, what's going to happen is, here's you, okay? You got your big old peepers, and you're looking at the next problem to solve, and you're like, okay, I'm going to solve that problem. So you go to it, and then what will typically happen is this will create a list of problems. And what can happen is instead of actually going towards your goal, which is up here, you can go down this trail of like problems that didn't actually need to be solved, and then you wind up to a point where you're like, what am I even doing? Like, you're not at your goal anymore because you're thinking, because what's happening is your brain is getting a bunch of input from this problem, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, this is what I should be working on. Oh, this is what I should be working on. And you've associated it with your goal, even though it actually has nothing to do with your goal, right? An example of this is I spent way too long learning this stuff because I had this false assumption that I needed to be a perfect systems designer, and that I wanted to be a perfect systems designer, and that was basically necessary for my goal. But then upon auditing that belief, it was like, oh, no, I don't have to. I don't actually have to learn this fully. I just have to know enough to make this spreadsheet. And that made it a lot faster, right? Instead of actually trying to go about it the proper way. And if you're trying to become the proper person who can do the proper thing, do it the proper way. But if something's just in your way and you need it to get out of the way, minimum viable product is king. MVP is the MVP, okay? I love this framework so much because just understanding you don't need something to be perfect. You don't need to put so much thought and effort and planning into something. Just making a minimum viable product, the bare essential thing where it's as ugly as it needs to be, but it gets it done, that is going to move you forward way faster than sitting there and slogging and trying to make it perfect, trying to make it good. And the thing is, this, because you don't have the understanding required to make the minimum viable product yet, if you try and do it this way, you're just going to run into more problems along the way that slow you down. Versus if you just try to get it functional first, okay, it's going to go way faster because then you'll have something that's done, which is really good for your mental health. And then on top of that, this will allow you to then add some of these things for like your perfect ideal version, right? Versus if you make your perfect ideal version, 9 times out of 10, you're also going to discover that you actually have to remove things because things don't work as intended, or people actually don't care about this thing that you built that you added, and it's just in there for no reason. And it's like, well, that sucked, you know? I spent all that time on that thing that didn't serve me. And you only have so much time. Time is your most valuable resource. Time is so much more valuable than money. That's a whole nother video. But
Cut.
you need to have a clear goal. You need to have clarity on your goals. You need to have clarity on the problems you're going to have to solve. And then the person you need to become.
Cut.
The person you need to become in order to solve those problems. So, here's the roadmap. I'm going to give it to you right now. Identify who you have to become in order to reach your goal. Or actually, my bad. Have a very clear vision of what your goal looks like. Understand exactly what your minimum viable goal looks like. Okay? For success. We're talking about a successful, fulfilled life here. Then identify who you need to become in order to reach that goal. Next, identify all of the problems that are going to get in your way or the milestones, and then map them out. That's it. So let's say you're here and you're looking up and you know you want to be here, and now you have an extremely crystal clear vision of what this actually takes. So you know it takes this, and you know it takes this, and you know it takes this. Well, all you have to do is become the person who can do this, and do this. And what this will look like is you just essentially have like some things you got to do, and then you just bing, bing, bing. There you go. You're done. You did it. Wasn't that incredible? Now, 9 times out of 10, the first step is education. So it's good that you're here, because you're getting educated right now. And really, it's so easy, guys. I slept on this for years, and I realized that all you have to do is strategize. Don't waste your time. Figure out exactly what you want. Then figure out exactly what you need to get there. Then figure out exactly who you need to become in order to get that. And if you do these things in that order, you will get what you want. So start with who you are. Have faith that you can go through a process to become the person that you want to become, or that you need to become in order to reach those goals. And then watch as everything just plays out and just goes exactly as you intended it to. Now, I'm going to give you another tip. So when you're starting at this level, when you're becoming who you need to become, a lot of times you do not know what you actually need. So the barrier is education. Set systems, not goals. System's way better than a goal. It'll take you to the end every time if you just follow the system. So what you need to do is you need to start maximizing your inputs of education for your specific subjects that you need to achieve in order to get what you want. Okay? And remember, minimum viable. Do not overplan this. Do not overthink it. Just the bare minimum. What do you need to get to where you want? And then just pick a time every day to watch content about this thing and to soak it into your brain. Start buying books about this subject. Read them consistently. And just keep doing this. And then developing your own ideas and philosophies around this thing. And then you can make it uniquely you. And then, if it's uniquely you, you will have a much easier time working on it because you're not grinding for it, because you're just in line with your passion, which, remember, your passion is your infinite motivation engine. That's all you need to do. These 3 things. What do I want? What do I need to get there? Who do I need to become to get what I need to get there? That's it. You got it. That's the roadmap. Clearly identify all those things, write them down, and just start today. Start listing down the actions that you can do every day to bring you closer to your goal. So if you're serious and you're ready to do these things and you're ready to actually start your journey, okay, or if you're somewhere in the middle of your journey but you got some clarity out of this and you want some help going forward, there is a link in the description to book a call with me. It's absolutely free, okay? And I will straight up just help you get started. That's what I will do. We'll identify what you want, what you need, who you have to become to get there, and we will just go straight into it, and we will get it done. And we'll also, I can provide you more coaching after that for however much time we have. Also, if anybody is able to refer somebody to this free session, because obviously I upsell you at the end, of course, but that's not, oh shit.
Cut.
Also, if you need a little bit of cash right now, if you need some money to get started for whatever you're doing, you need some capital, I'm giving away a 60% referral rate for all of my services. So what that means is that if you point somebody to me and they book that free call, and then they decide, hey, this is actually really helpful, I like this, and they decide to buy more coaching sessions or consulting or systems that I sell or anything that I sell, 2 months, for 2 months after they start buying stuff, you will get 60% of every purchase that they make, okay? So just full transparency, that's what's going on here, and you can make money doing this, and That's all I got. Thank you guys for coming to my video. I hope you have a blessed day. Peace.